Alrighty. So this is the first episode of the Pilot Podcast. Thanks guys for joining and listening. I'm excited to do this personally. It's just me. So I'm excited. I'm really pumped to see how it goes and how people like it and whatnot. And yeah, it's the rough run. Basically, I decided to do myself mainly because I just wanted to see how everyone's gonna like it or how's it gonna work out and whatnot. I'm doing it here on live and I'm recording it here and the audio first. I'm kind of gonna do this over Zoom, Discord, or video chat with some people. I would love to do it in person, but that's just how things go. So, alrighty, let's get right into it. Why am I doing this podcast? So, I'm mainly doing this podcast mainly to document right now everything that's going on, all the shows, the history of it. Something that we can look back at when we're like 80 and we're like, this is kind of, yeah, this is kind of like what we did, and it can move on to the future generations and they can hear all of it and see all of it and watch it and whatnot and be like, hey, that was grandma and grandpa back in the day. Because I don't feel like someone's doing that. So it's gonna be pretty sweet. Um, what's it gonna be like? It's gonna be like pretty cool. I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna talk to people that everyone knows and loves. I'm gonna have some cool little, excuse me, one-off games. I'm gonna have some very interesting topics. I've been building this list. Been kind of nervous about doing it personally. I think it's because it's just me first, and then I'm moving on to other people. But I wanted to kind of be like I don't want to compare, but like to like a Joe Rogan experience or kind of like a weird Narwhal kind of thing. I would love to do this at shows and have a crew and be like boom, boom, boom and do it on the spot. But I really think a long format conversation would be the best way. It could be anywhere from like 15 minutes, 20 minutes to an hour to 4 hours. I don't give a crap. I'm just excited to see how it goes. So, next one. Who or what type of people am I gonna have on here? Well, I want to start with artists. I'm gonna start with kind of people I know, so it's easier and I can work myself up. I want to start with the local scene and then move to Ontario and then go to Canada and then start incorporating international, because yeah, it's just gonna branch itself out, right? So I gotta start somewheres, right? I'm gonna have artists, DJs, producers, promoters, shows throwers, even venue owners, or people who run events or festivals. It's open book. DM me. I'm here to do it. So you might as well, right? Um, Alrighty. So how I decided to start doing this over the last, I've been thinking about it for a few years. So it's kind of like just been building these questions, and it's kind of weird because I'm gonna be doing it by myself. So I've been doing these ask kind of things on Instagram and start raking up questions like crazy. And the ones I didn't post, the obvious ones that would be good for an interview, I've just like stacked to see what kind of people would want to hear and whatnot. So I'm gonna be using those on me and other people and whoever's in between. So let's start to here. Let's start with the basic stuff, guys. Basic stuff. So if people don't know, my name is Owen Cole. I'm 24. I turned 25 in September. I'm currently living in St. Catharines. I was born and raised in Jordan, Ontario. Grew up on a greenhouse. Moved there when I was 7 from Vineland, just a town over. Farm boy my whole entire life. Kind of worked my way out and then made it to Toronto, the big old city, once I got out of the kind of band or world because I was a drummer before, and made it to Toronto and made it across kind of Ontario, a little bit of Quebec, down a little bit in the States and whatnot. And it kind of just sprawled all out, and it's kind of sweet. Um, yeah, I started playing music when I was really, really younger. Like, I can't think, like, maybe elementary school, maybe that's probably as early as back as I can get. I remember playing the harmonica in like grade six, and then piano lessons from a classical trained uh, pianist. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I was like really, really young, and she did like movie scores for films. I don't know if she did TV. I know she did musicals, but yeah, she was really world renowned and famous, and it was kind of cool. I got to have her as a neighbor. I remember when I was a kid, she told me that this giant window that was in front overlooking kind of like a valley, she said that they actually have to take out the whole wall to bring in the piano, uh, because it wouldn't fit through the door, and pianos are all in one piece, right? And they're solid and they're heavy, so they had to use a crane and come over and whatnot, which I thought was super cool. So thank you, Mrs. Lipka. Rest in peace. I know it's been some years, but I really appreciate it, all the whatnot you passed on to me. Then I was in high school and I had to play the baritone, a massive instrument. I was ridiculous. And then I got injured in high school and kind of it like flipped me back from being a jock, the sportsy spice, into kind of a musician. And boom, bada bing, I wanted to play drums. I was really big into metal music. I loved rock, and I just like would pound it out. And then I also was making electronic music at the same time, and it was kind of weird because I was trying to play electronic music on the drums, which kind of don't really make sense. But like, hey, I did what I did. But it was building that fundamentals of the 4/4, 1 and 3, like just understanding the back percussion. So like that backbone I got early engraved into me. So yeah, it was really cool to kind of look back and figure that all out. I was playing in like a band, like orchestra band and whatnot, and I really like that whole full atmosphere of everything that electronic music gives you instead of like four guys, four instruments in a band, right? That's very like constrained, but you can work within those tools. But with the orchestra, you have everything and all these layers and whatnot. So it was really exciting to feel that, you know what I mean, at a young age, and then be able to later on, like 7, 6 years later, feel that with electronic music on a massive, massive system, right? So, yeah, it was really cool for me to kind of. I'm just sorry. I'm just thinking about it now, and it's kind of like wow, like it's crazy. It's almost been 10 years I've been making music, either like live playing instruments or electronically. Um, yeah, I just started using random DAWs and whatnot, random apps and stuff on phone. I was making beats in the hallway in like I remember grade 11 for like people rapping and stuff like that, and they were so janky and shitty, but like no sidechain compression, and yeah, and yeah, and then I remember using GarageBand from someone's phone, and then I started using GarageBand for like 4 to 5 years, like seriously. And I didn't have a computer, and then my sister gave me her old computer, and then a year or two later, I kind of burnt that thing out, and now it's just like sitting there in the archive. And my future brother-in-law actually just gave me a desktop, maybe like 4 years ago, and I used that thing. I wrote Lust Knife on it. Basically spent the beginning of all of my Ableton career on that thing, and oh, it's my Bertha, my Frankenstein. Rest in peace. I'm staring at you now, but yeah, she did me justice, and now I'm on my new one, and hopefully not gonna burn it out. Almost paid it off. Yeah, so been going from there. So I kind of went from it's kind of funny, weird janky apps to using GarageBand mobile to GarageBand on a computer to then having FL and then struggling with it to Logic and then being like, oh, Logic's kind of like Rock Band, da 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 da, and then being like, okay, everyone's doing Ableton. And I originally learned Ableton when I was younger, I think it was 9 or 8, and then I came back to it and I was like, wow, it's so much easier, and I'm kind of just like flying through it and learning so fast that it was like, wow, I can't believe I figured it out this fast, and it's just been easier and easier for me to learn as it goes. So I've been kind of making music in a DAW for a while. I don't know the exact time and date, but yeah. Um, when it comes to shows, I remember I think it was Veld. 2016 was my first experience. The year Deadmau5 had the V3 Cube. It was the first time I was ever exposed to electronic music like live, and I remember I was like, damn. I really, really want to do this. And I kind of just switched over because there's no really scene here in Niagara. It's now finally building after years and years. And yeah, it kind of just sparked it inside me. And then 2 years later, and a few little minor festivals underneath of me, I went to my first dubstep show, and I was like, wow, I was glued right to the front of the decks. It was Midnight Tea and Figure. And my first dubstep show ever actually was a Figure Terrorvision show, which is kind of crazy. Um, yeah, I just had to learn about headbanging and the environment and mosh pits and everything. And I was like, wow, this is where I was meant to be. I was told I was born in a mosh pit, but I just loved it. And literally the next day, I went up, got up, went to Long McQuaid, and bought my first controller. It's behind me, and it broke, but I'm using another one, and woohoo! And then learned how to use CDJs, and that's how it goes. Shows, I love them personally. I really, really love them. Over a festival, I like festivals because the big sound system and bigger artists and all the people. But with shows, I really like the intimacy and everyone just being there, right in each other's faces, and like, and the whole, you can feel the crowd, you can see them, they're like a distance from you, especially not if there's a big stage, which is really, really nice to kind of experience, as a viewer and as a DJ, because you can feel the crowd, you can like ride off of everyone's energy, which is super sick, which I love to death. I love feeling inspired and whatnot. And just how a crowd can make one person feel and one person can make a whole crowd feel. It's just kind of like an amazing aspect, kind of dynamic, right? When I started this project, I really came at it from a different angle because originally my band name that I grew up with my best friend was Buried in Jordan Forever. And then I had like the Muppets and Mulligans in there just to kind of like keep this thing afloat. And then I was like, nah, I'm gonna completely change, but keep the name. And I decided to keep the name and start making electronic music. But what happened was I just felt like I can't keep beating this dead horse to try to, win a race. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to switch my name, change my brand, change everything over. And yeah, I did. I completely did. And someone one day was talking to me and they're like, what's a good name for you? Conscious Pilot. And I was like, wow, that is good. And I was like, it's like looking inside yourself instead of a mirror for kind of the answers. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, kind of this metaphysics, meta philosophy kind of name that, will inspire people. Like everyone can be a Neo, right, from the Matrix. So the aesthetics of what I really take from is like cyberpunk and space and the astronaut, and that's something I really resonate with, and I hold to my brand, especially like with a song I just wrote called Dune, and like some of the sounds I use are from space, and I think it's really cool. And my whole thing is like um, the story, mainly when I'm going to be working on into the future, is like this astronaut, and he's trying to find his way back home, but what he doesn't realize is he's actually stuck kind of like in this upside down situation, and he's got to get himself back. So I really resonate with like heavy dubstep too, and like really soft, like feelsy stuff in a way, like atmospheric wise. And I'm gonna mesh those two together, so I really take stuff from like Sudden Death, Void, and like people like that, like Murate, and like okay, great example. When I came into this, it was like this big house and everyone was mainstream house and all this stuff. And then I slowly start to get more dubstep into me, and then it was kind of like the end of the bro step era, and this new thing called rhythm came up, and I had to learn about that and the chopping and doubles and all that jazz and funk. And then once I got into it more, this heavier sound came, and death step was actually like backing out. Now it's coming back in, and yeah, it was super fun to see this new tear out kind of way come up, and I've kind of been coming in that wave. I wouldn't call myself a tear out artist personally. I'm just an artist. I make whatever I want. I don't ever want my songs to ever sound the same. I would want something to be constantly different. So when I do something different, um, people are used to it. They expect it, you know. So it's not something I'll have to worry about if I'm trying to do genre defying stuff or make something completely different, right? Um, yeah, so it's been a while since I've been really wanting to do this mainly. I just feel like I should give people a kind of a backstory. Sorry for jumping, but I want people to have a room to speak and feel like they can know the person they see, because you know you'll meet them in the smoke pit, you'll meet them on the floor, you know, but they're busy, they're doing something, they gotta drive people around, they got a show, they're stressed, they're tired, it's late at night. I feel like this would be really cool to like hear someone you get to see play. Like you get to meet them, you know, like where'd you grow up, what'd you do, you know, how's life, what do you have, a cat, dog, all those type of stuff, you know, get personal, because I feel like people, especially now, it's crazy how much technology's made us closer. We haven't really got to be personal with each other, and some people may not be want to be, but some people may, and I really think that's important. I think you resonate with an artist when something's more wholesome and valuable and something that you can relate to. And yeah. Anyways, sorry about that tangent. But I feel like a lot of things have changed since the pandemic because of COVID with shows and whatnot. Um, let's see what I got here. Um, so when it comes to promoters and it's gonna come to people who throw shows and whatnot, I'm gonna have different types of questions like the history of the company, favorite event, favorite venue, music they grew up on, favorite songs and whatnot. When it comes to DJs, it's gonna be a little bit easier and a lot more to get a lot more personal with stuff. Because I feel like I'm gonna talk a lot more about like their music and their process, because I feel like I understand it from my position, and whatnot. And yeah, it's gonna be fun to see. It's gonna be really fun to see. I'm excited to see how this all works out. Anyways, so I have a few cool games that I kind of put into here. We'll do a little one first. I have instead of kill, marry, fuck, it's actually called collab, back to back, or steal a song from. So how this is gonna work out is, who would you want to collab with on a track? Okay. Now, is that your favorite artist now, later, past tense, alive, dead? Doesn't matter what genre, what kind of era, time. You could actually pick the era, like how David Bowie did it all over the place, or like an artist like when they first came up, or like now that they're older and like their sound and whatnot. Back to back would be a really cool one too, because would you like to back with someone like Skrillex and see how he does it and learn like all his cool tricks, or would you love to back with the artist right now that you like and then steal a song from? This is like my favorite one, because do you want to have the credibility of writing something like amazing, like a massive pop song, and be filthy rich forever and be that guy, or do you want to own one of those most iconic songs ever, like One More Time by Daft Punk, or like a rock song or a metal song or something that really resonates with your heart and connects with you, right? So it's all really metaphysical. It's just like the name, right? So like philosophy is something I really put into myself and my work, and I hide little secrets and breadcrumbs everywhere, because it's something that's really important to me. I want people to be like in the know, because growing up, I really didn't really have friends. I really stood out. I was really a different person, you know, but like the older I got, I realized that just makes me different, and different in a good way, because I'm not like everyone else. And that kind of, those people really lead towards success, which makes me excited. It makes me really happy for how far I've came and where I might be in the next 5, 10, 15, 20. Who knows, right? So yeah. Um, but yeah, so if you ever see like I'm doing something and you don't understand it, there's probably a back meaning to it. And it's not just trolling or memeing. There's probably actually something deep to it. Um, yeah, for future events that are coming up and whatnot, I'm excited for Field to Fields. It's gonna be cool since the pandemic's coming back. I did get my Amorphic show moved ahead. I'm gonna have these more segmented when I'm talking about personally me or the other person's shows. I'm either gonna put them in the end or the back. of the podcast to hear. Other cool things I'm gonna add is a challenge. So if you are a DJ producer and you want a challenge, this is one for you. So my first mix series that I had come out was called Mix, Mixxx. So X, if people don't really understand, means in Roman numeral 10. So 10, 10, 10. So 30 songs, 30 minutes. Can be any genre, anything you want to do, but that's the challenge. So I put out like three of them way back in the beginning, and they sound like poop compared to now. But it's a fun challenge. People say, "Oh yeah, that's easy. I can totally do that." Yeah, you say that, but you rush through all like 25 songs, and then you're playing out five for however long, right? So it's gonna be cool to see. So if someone's up to the challenge, I don't know if I'm gonna do it on SoundCloud, on Spotify. I'm still trying to figure that out. But right now, I'm gonna be saving this live on Instagram right here, and I'm recording audio and video over here for YouTube, and where I'm gonna put out the audio, haven't really decided yet. But yeah, it's gonna be exciting for doing that. Yeah, if anyone has questions or like has any critique or anything, I'm really down to see. I'm kind of like in a really open area to see what to do or how to do this. I have no clue. I'm kind of just throwing at at the wall, you know. So I'm gonna go through some more questions here that people wrote down and just keep on a nice way, and then segment my way through it. The first EDM track I ever heard or regular track. So the two I gotta resonate the most with would probably be One More Time by Daft Punk or We Will Rock You. Those are like the first two songs I ever remember hearing my whole entire life. Um, First non-rave tune or rave tune that I really liked. I'm probably gonna stick with those two. First CD I ever got. Ooh, I think it was a U2 one with Vertigo on it, or it was a Usher album when I was a kid, which is kind of crazy. Favorite movie soundtrack. This was one of the questions that I got asked in, and I absolutely loved it. Like Tenet, I really liked how they did it, but like the mixing of it could have been done a bit better. Anything Hans Zimmer's does, or I forget his name from Nine Inch Nails. He does Trent Reznor, sorry, and Atticus Ross. They do is really cool. Or like seeing good movies with solid soundtracks, you know, that just have like killer songs like The Matrix, right? Like that's a huge inspiration to me and my aesthetic and my vibe of stuff. So it'd be really cool to incorporate that somehow. Pets. I have a German Shepherd named Honey at home with my parents, and I'm in my apartment, and I currently have Neo, that is a black cat. He's almost a year and a half old. Um, it was my girlfriend's first time ever having a cat. Been raised with cats my whole entire life on the greenhouse and around the farm and whatnot because I lived out in the country. And yeah, he's awesome. I also call him the Wuzza, hashtag Wuzza for main stage, or Vernon, or every name under the book, or the Whizzle, because yeah, I just call him everything because you know it's a jokes. Hobbies. While you're looking at it, um, I kind of cut video games out of my life. Making music takes up a lot of time. Sitting on the couch takes up a lot of time. Jokes. But yeah, between work, Monday to Friday, 7 to 4, kind of dealio, and life in between, and making music, that takes up most of my life, and hanging out with the cat and the girlfriend, you know, and everything in between, right? Um, Here we go. Now we're gonna switch. The evolution of dance music or music in general. So these are like these solid questions people sent into me. Like honestly, it's worth the hoot. Okay, so I think the evolution of music is gonna move to some next level shit. I literally think it's almost gonna be about the programmer programming the AI just like how we do with producing now, but not with AI. And it's gonna be crazy. And I feel like we're gonna go back to like playing it live and kind of like having a DJ would be like a flume, and like that's standard because that's what I really aimed for when I started. I was like, man, DJing's not a thing. I totally don't support this. I'm gonna bring all my midis and shit. Once I started getting to know venue owners, they're like, hey, first thing they literally said is like, you're not like flume, and we all have CDJs, and you just have to have a USB and your set list or tracks and all that whatnot. And I was like, oh damn, so I gotta go roll all the way back and learn a whole new thing. And I feel like the performance aspect will add so much more to a live atmosphere that like it's really the challenge. You'll really see who's the artist there. Um, but yeah, I feel like electronic music, as I can see from like TikTok helping and over like my whole entire life, it's kind of crazy. We moved like even country music, you'll find songs with like a sub let down and stuff in it. And it's like, whoa, where'd you come from? But I really feel like majority of all musics and like hip hop's even doing some crazy stuff too with like funk, PH by the way, and it's all moving towards electronic. The future is now, and we're all moving towards that direction. And it's gonna be really cool to see how that all works out. Not gonna lie. Um, where do I see the future of my career dash scene dash music in general? Well, we just figured those two out. So, my career, hopefully, my plan is to kind of do all the things I kind of want to, and then check them off my list and be like, hey, I did everything I want. I'll go back to working as a welder in a factory like I do for the rest of my life because I did what I want to do. You know, I hit my goals. I did the things I wanted to, and that is kind of just where I'm at. Because you know, once you like not just plateauing out, but if you hit all your goals and there's no more ceiling, like what else do you do, right? So it's gonna be unique to see once I'm at that point, if I get to that point, hopefully I do, where I go from there. The future of the scene, I feel like it's gonna get more open than it is now, more underground and more people. And I feel like it's crazy. Every time a subgenre comes out, it opens three more doors, kind of thing, because it connects two people from two separate sides and makes one, and then opens another door for the next one. So it's kind of like this two, three, two, three, two, three, which is kind of crazy. The just in general to see, you know, and I've seen so many subgenres come up and genres be made and whatnot. So I'm really, really excited for the future. See what the next new thing is. I always love when new stuff comes up. Um, let's see. Let's get more personal down here. Favorite type of shoe. This was a random one, but I wear Vans flats, slip-ons, or laces are my favorite. Tea or coffee, both. They're equally great on either side of the pond, England or here, you know. History in the scene. So when I started going to shows, I didn't know about a thing called a scene. I knew about it in the metal world and the music world kind of, but I didn't really know about a scene, you know. So I kind of came up in like the end of 27, and two of my older friends that are kind of like brothers to me, they brought me in, and then I got to see how the mechanics and how everything works, and how really how like it's like a culture of people. And like I say, if it bangs, the kids will come and see it. And that's kind of true depending on all the janky venues, outside, inside, up in a bird's nest, down low. It's kind of cool to see how venues work, if like with the sounds, the lights, the rigs, everything. And I'm excited for the future of it. Hopefully everything is like an Eric Pratz show where it's all like a giant hologram and whatnot, like Tupac. That'd be cool. Fave venue, I can't really say right now a fave venue other than in front of people with people. That is my favorite venue. Fave event, personally, I love those events where friends come and they support. They're there from the opener to the closer, and they're asking for one more song at 3:01 a.m., even when the bars are closed. Type of music I grew up on. These questions are really jotted all over the place. I'm gonna organize them better when I'm interviewing or talking with someone. But yeah, I'm really excited to even just do that and have a full figure. Sorry. But I grew up on like metal, rock. I do believe I mentioned that. But the music that resonated with me was something that like you can really feel, something that really has like an inspirational taste, something that can really make you feel something, make you feel like you want to move or dance or headbang or cry or whatnot. It's just something that people can connect with, and that's something I really relate with too. Let's see what other questions I have here. First concert I ever went to. So I did mention the Midnight Tea and whatnot, or Midnight Tea and Figure, like the Terrorvision show. That was my first like dubstep one. First show would be Vel 2016. But first concert I ever went to, I do believe it was Katy Perry in grade 7, and I was row 14. She did pick me to come up on stage, and she actually picked another guy, like ran up and stuff. But it would have been really cool to do that. Things that are new and up and coming for me. So the things that are new and up and coming for me. So I've been trying to work on trying to find my sound. I'm not really, I don't like, do I care about that? Yeah, but it's not something I'm really like head into. Like I took lessons early on from very, very big people now. I don't want to mention their names just to kind of just let the story go. But I took lessons from people, and I took the things I learned from them and whatnot. And I kind of just took with the tools that were given to me and self-learning and YouTube. God bless having the internet these days to be able to Google things, and great friends, thank you whoever's listening and whatnot, for any advice you guys could have gave me producing and DJ wise. But I'm really trying to hone in and just be creative, different, and make something that I've never heard before, because that's super, super, super important to me. To just be original and try not to have it sounding like everyone else. And that's super unique to me, that like if you have that ability, because anyone can copy and paste a track. But yeah, I have a bunch of songs coming out this year. I've had my first couple label releases, the first one being Dune, and then there's one coming out in a month or two. I'm just going to keep working on music. I'm planning on working on an album or like another EP soon, which is going to be super exciting for me. I'm super excited for it. I've just been trying to bank all that music. I don't know if I'm planning on taking time off shows, because I hate saying no to shows, which I'm probably not going to do. But yeah, right now when I'm filming it, as of it being August 11th of 2022, I'm off for the next few days, so I'm planning on finishing up some tracks, getting those done. For one of them's for a remix compilation, which is pretty sick. I'm excited about, and some other personal stuff, just keeping in the bank and whatnot. But yeah, when it comes to producing, I feel like the best time is alone time and alone with yourself, or when you're working with someone and you can be like secluded mentally and physically, because then there's no distraction, so you can really channel in. And I believe with other producers too, like channeling and kind of getting in that zone space is super important, because you get the mass majority of kind of what your work's done. And that's super important. Like, you either have to have the mental space for it, or the heart, or kind of just the determination, because I believe like there's someone out there doing it twice as hard, twice as better, and has more time than you do. So you have to either believe in yourself and grind and get there, but everyone moves at their own pace too. So it's not a race, it's not a journey. You may compare yourself, don't. You're doing your own thing. You're being yourself. You're crafting your own. Just because someone is ahead of you and they started earlier doesn't mean they're going to not crash and fall. I'm not saying that is a negative thing. That could be their own thing. It could be whatnot. But excel at your own rate. Do your own thing. Be who you are. And look within yourself, honestly. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this podcast, is to really have people look within themselves and, pull that part out and show their true colors and who they are. I'm really excited to have everyone I know on here boys, girls, everybody, all ages. I'm gonna start with bass music because I think that's really something I resonate first, and then I'm gonna start working to house and whatnot. But I'm excited for the scene to have this. I asked a few people specifically to do this first, to be the first ones on here, and some of them were busy. Some of them we've skipped and moved for later dates because that works best for them, or certain people on tour. And so I said, screw it, let's do me first, right? Um, yeah, I think this is where I'm gonna carry it off. I appreciate listening. You can follow me at Conscious Pilot or at Conscious Pilot Music on basically almost everything. If you're a local DJ from Toronto, Niagara, Ontario, or Canada, and you're watching this and you want to be on here, come DM me on at Conscious Pilot, or you can Google me at the Pilot Podcast page. But I appreciate everyone who's kind of watching and listening, and let's see where this goes.